You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good morning. This is Debbie Royce, New York Job Development Authority's Acting Corporate Secretary. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's meeting, and before we formally begin, I would ask everyone to please mute your audio unless you're speaking. We'll begin today by taking a roll call of the members to ensure we have a quorum present on our line. Please be so kind to say present when I call your name. New York State Department of Economic Development Commissioner and JDA Chair, Hope Knight.
Present.
Alfredo Assad.
Present.
Emily Yusuf.
Present.
Benson Martin, designee for the New York State Department of Financial Services Superintendent Adrian Harris.
Present.
Steve McGrattan, designee for New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Commissioner Richard Ball.
Present.
And Christopher White, designee for the New York State Department of Labor Commissioner Roberta Reardon.
Present.
Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. And Chair Knight, you're ready to begin.
Thank you, Debbie. Good morning. I now call to order the meeting of the members of the New York Job Development Authority for Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. Before we get started, I will ask that everyone please mute their phone until you are ready to speak. Also, for the record, I will ask that anyone wishing to speak, please be sure to state your name before you begin. I'd like to note for the record that in accordance with current legislation, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on agenda items by submitting their comments by 4:30 yesterday. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. The members have received the written materials in advance of this meeting and are free to ask questions at any time during the presentation. I will now ask members whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I will ask you please make sure you make the appropriate disclosure on the record at the time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. Hearing none, the first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes of June 24th, 2021 members' meeting. I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions, comments, additions, deletions? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Emily Usop, motion.
Second,
Alfredo Assad, I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries. I would now like to call on Ray Salvarios to present the next item on today's agenda, which relates to the reexamination of JDA's mission statement and related performance measurements and the acceptance of the performance measurement report for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Ray, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Hope. Good morning. This is Ray Salvarios. I'm going to present the examination of mission statement and the related performance measurements. In accordance with the Public Authorities Law, the New York Job Development Authority adopted the following mission and related performance measurements to assist the authority in determining how well it is carrying out its mission. Furthermore, pursuant to the Public Authorities Law, the authority must re-examine this mission statement and related performance measurements annually to ensure that its mission has not changed and the performance measurements continue to support its mission. To assist the members in their review, the mission statement and related performance measurements are set forth below. The mission statement as follows. The New York Job Development Authority spurs job growth and capital investment in New York State by using the authorities granted to it and by leveraging the state guaranteed bonds to support low-interest loans to manufacturers and other targeted industries throughout New York State. The performance measurements are as follows. The annual number of transactions closed, the aggregate value of bonds issued, the number of jobs retained and created with each investment transaction, the amount of private capital investments leveraged, the number of transactions delinquent, the number of transactions in default, and the number of transactions approved by the authority during the reporting period. Upon these measurements, JDA may evaluate performance and the achievement of its goals. The following is the 2021-2022 Performance Measurement Report. During fiscal year 2021-2022, the authority continued its efforts to expand the authority's loan portfolio and increase awareness of the authority's products in the lending and business communities throughout the state. Pursuant to Article 8 of Title 8 of the Public Authorities Laws, projects were approved prior to its actual commencement. Closing the authority's loans and disbursements of funds occurs upon project completion. It generally takes several months to more than a year to complete typical projects subsequent to approval by the authority and the Public Authorities Control Board. Excuse me. Because job creation and or retention and the measurement of capital investments leverage can only be properly done after project completion and closing. The projects approved by the authority this year have not yet resulted in reportable job creation, retention, or capital leverage. It is noted that staff made significant efforts to identify and analyze transactions that for various reasons staff determined were not eligible for presentation to the members. 5 new loans totaling $543,242 were approved as part of the aggregate $10 million that established the JDA Agriculture Loan Program back in 2016. It is anticipated that the 5 JDA agricultural loans would leverage $20.2 million in private capital while retaining 54 jobs and creating an additional 18 jobs. The JDA Agriculture Loan Program was created in order to make loans to lenders, which will in turn provide financing to businesses that serve the agriculture industry, which would otherwise face difficulties in obtaining capital at a reasonable cost for establishing or expanding their enterprises and businesses. In fiscal year 2021-2022, JDA closed a $1,280,000 real estate loan that leveraged $2,070,000 in private capital while retaining 28 jobs and supporting the creation of 7 new jobs. In fiscal year 2021-2022, 2 JDA loans went into default. The loans, a $4,660,000 machinery and equipment loan and an $840,000 real estate mortgage loan, were initially dispersed concurrently to the same borrower. Despite the JDA's efforts to intervene, the borrower was forced into Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Through the bankruptcy process, JDA was able to recover a combined total of $999,603 in loan principal. Subsequently, with the approval of JDA's workout committee, a total of $4,041,223 was written off and discharged from JDA's books. The authority issued no bonds during the reporting period. The members are requested to confirm their reexamination of the mission statement and related performance measurements and to accept the fiscal year 2021-2022 performance measurement report in accordance with the Public Authorities Law. Thank you, and I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Are there any questions or comments from the members with regard to this item? Ray, is that the end of your presentation?
Yes, I'm sorry. That's the end of the presentation. We just request now that the members vote on the initiative.
So as noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Benson Martin, so moved.
Second?
Emily Usop, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We will now hear from JDA's Controller, Kathleen Mize, regarding approval of the annual financial audit. I note that in the usual course of business, JDA's Audit, Finance, and Governance Committee would have reviewed the financial reports and made a recommendation to the larger board. However, because of the recent resignations from the JDA board, the committee currently only has 1 member and not the 3 required by our bylaws. Since the committee is comprised of JDA board members, we will proceed with the presentation to the full board, and we will be appointing board members to that committee at this meeting. Kathleen, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Hope, and good morning, members. The Public Authorities Law requires annual approval by the authority members and certifications by the President and Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer of certain financial reports, hereby referred to as the reports. The reports consist of financial information set forth in the combined financial statements and independent auditor's report, March 31, 2022 and 2021, known as the audit report, as prepared with the authority's independent audit firm, EFPR Group, LLP. The audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2022 contains an unmodified, clean opinion reflecting that the combined financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position, results of operations, and cash flows of the authority. In addition, the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance, addressing whether control deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control exist, did not identify any deficiencies that would be considered to be material weaknesses. The audit firm was able to obtain reasonable assurance that the authority's financial statements are free of material misstatement by performing tests of compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements, including the authority's investment guidelines and other matters. Non-compliance with any of these could have had a direct and material effect on the financial statements. Their testing revealed no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported. Included in the materials presented is the complete audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2022. The preparation of the audit report included 32% participation by MBE and WBE firms and 6% by an SDVOB firm. Also on the phone this morning is Doug Zimmerman, engagement partner of our audit firm, and we are happy to answer any questions that the members may have. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the members with regard to this item? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Emily Usop, motion.
Second.
Benson Martin, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Doug Janice will now present an item related to the adoption of the authority's revised procurement guidelines. Doug, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Hope. Good morning, members. I'm Doug Janice. I'm a senior counsel at ESD and also procurement counsel. The members are being asked to adopt revised guidelines for the use, awarding, monitoring, and reporting of procurement contracts for this coming year. Section 2879 of the Public Authorities Law requires the annual adoption of these guidelines, and the authority has annually adopted and updated and revised guidelines which conform to the law. There have been no substantive changes to executive orders that would require modifications to the guidelines for this year, but ESD staff has reviewed the guidelines and recommended some changes to clarify and better organize the guidelines to make them more user-friendly, more logical, and more coherent, while ensuring that the authority obtains goods and services in an open, accountable, and transparent manner. A brief summary of those changes are that we clarified additional information regarding purchase order procurements. We reworked some sections, specifically sections 3 and 4, to eliminate the flow charts and replace them with listed bullet points that are easier to follow. Staff will be permitted for the first time to procure additional vendors for pre-qualified lists if the need arises. We're clarifying that notices to proceed can be utilized both before and after the member's approval. And in an effort to be more environmentally conscious, new procedures were added to permit electronic submissions of certain documents. And the proposed attached guidelines incorporate all of those changes. As a final note, these guidelines directly mirror the guidelines that Empire State Development's Board of Directors adopted at their March 24th, 2022 meeting. And as such, we're asking that these new guidelines with the changes be adopted by the members for the authority. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the members with regard to this item? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Benson Martin, so moved.
Second.
Emily
Alfredo
Usop.
Assad, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Noted earlier, Felisa Hochheiser will now present our agenda item relating to the appointment of members to the Audit, Finance, and Governance Committee. Felisa, when you're ready.
Good morning, Hope. Thank you. And good morning, directors. I'm Felisa Hochheiser, ESD's Director of Compliance. According to the Public Authorities Law, the New York Job Development Authority is required to establish an Audit, Finance, and Governance Committee. Because of a recent resignation, the committee is currently comprised of one member. To avoid the need for future board actions to maintain members of the committee, it is recommended that the positions of Commissioner of New York State Department of Economic Development and Superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services be appointed as ex officio members of the committee. Currently, Hope Knight serves as Empire State Development's President and Chief Executive Officer and is the chair of the authority in her capacity as Commissioner of the New York State Department of Economic Development. Adrienne A. Harris serves as a member of the authority in her capacity as Superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services. It is recommended that the following individuals be appointed to the committee of the authority as ex officios to fill the vacancies: Hope Knight and Adrienne Harris. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the members with regard to this item? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Chris White, motion.
Second.
Benson Martin, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Ray Salvarius is up again and will present our final agenda item, which relates to the JDA Agriculture Loan Program. Ray, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Hope. Good morning again, folks. I'd like to present the request for approval by the members for a loan to the Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation. On June 27, 2016, the JDA Board approved the creation of the JDA Agriculture Loan Fund Program, under which selected lenders were authorized to make loans to New York State agribusiness firms ranging from $50,000 to $200,000. The program targets agribusiness firms that are looking to expand but have limited opportunity aside from providing their own capital contributions. Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation was one of the original JDA Agriculture Loan Fund lenders that successfully deployed those funds in their region and using them to support $21.4 million development project activity. HVADC has requested additional funding to continue this work. HVAD was established as a nonprofit in 2007 and is dedicated to promoting balanced, market-based solutions that lead to enhanced agriculture entrepreneurship, rural economic growth, and community enhancement. HVADC is the only economic development agency in Hudson Valley with a specific focus on the viability of the agriculture economy in the region. HVAC is charged to enhance the agriculture sector in the Hudson Valley by assisting both new and existing agribusinesses and supporting policies and regulations that recognize and support New York State's agriculture economy. To date, for the lenders' information, to date, 9 lenders are participating in the JDA Agribusiness Program. 39 loans have been deployed. $4.6 million in JDA funds have been utilized. That's leveraged $37.5 million in private sector funds. JDA staff recommends the extended approval of HVADC as a program lender. HVADC, the authorization of a program loan to HVADC in the additional $500,000. All terms, covenants, and conditions contained in the original material shall apply to the Hudson Valley Agriculture Development Corporation. That's the end of my presentation. I'm ready to answer any questions as needed. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the members with regard to this item? As noted earlier, would you not? Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, this is Steve McGrattan representing Commissioner Ball, State Department of Agriculture and Markets. I would just like to, on behalf of Commissioner Ball, thank Ray and the JDA for their continued work in this area. As HVADC has pointed out and the JDA's mission points out, it's very difficult for some of these small businesses to access capital. This is a vital program to agriculture throughout the state, and Commissioner Ball and I really appreciate Ray's hard work and passion in helping agribusinesses throughout the state and especially the Hudson Valley. So thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your comment, and we're very excited about this program launching.
Thank you.
So as noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Benson Martin, so moved.
Second.
Steve McGrattan, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
This is Chris White,
Steve
motion.
McGrattan.
So I'd like to thank you all very much for participation in today's meeting and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Sure.